What is going on, everyone? It's your guy, Cole Jackson, back here on Road Graders. And today we are going to be diving into another rookie report. We're going to be taking a look at what Roger Rosengarten is doing so differently now. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you saw me put this up the other day. But if you take a look at Roger Rosengarten's pressure numbers between weeks 5 and 10, and remember, he took over as a starter in week 4, he allowed 21 pressures in those 6 games. Was struggling. We talked about it here on the channel a little bit. And then when you look at the last 3 games before the bye, weeks 11 through 13, 2 pressures allowed. That is some absurd stuff. Now, before we jump too far into it, I will be completely clear. You guys know I'm always transparent. I'm here to give you the truth, to give you guys an honest look at offensive line play. 100% playing into this is the Ravens giving some extra help with chips with the tight end specifically. They're splitting their tight end out using Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, rather than as an inline tight end. They're splitting them out, giving some chip help. And we'll see a couple clips tonight where I actually think that that's starting to hurt Rosengarten a little bit, because what happens is, and you'll see it from some of the alignments from Bosa against the Chargers when we get into that tape, and TJ Watt, is they actually end up lining up wider, and then once the chip happens, the tackle's already into his pass set, and so he's having a difficult time managing his pass set like most would. So it's one of those ironic things where you're trying to give him help, especially against guys like Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, whatever one plays for the Chargers, TJ Watt, and some of these elite pass rushers. So I understand why the Ravens are doing it, of course, but it does have some negative repercussions within his pass set, how he manages that game. So we'll take a look at all that. Now, before we jump too far, the lines for Sunday up and ready to go. Your Baltimore Ravens open as minus 15 favorites. You can get in on the action with an extra bonus. Go over to BetUS. Enter in promo code YouTube150. You'll get 150% sign-up bonus and 125% on your next 2 deposits. That means go in, put $100 down. Rather than laying a $100 bet, you're going to be putting down a $150 bet. Bigger winnings, more money in your pocket. So what I want to do, again, going back some of the games through weeks 5 to 10. And if you guys follow the channel, we've already looked at this. So I'll go through these clips pretty quick, but these are going to be kind of the negative pieces, the things that we wanted to see Rosengarten improve on. And then we'll take a look at the last 3 games and see how he's actually been able to put that together. So what we're focusing on in these clips is 2 things primarily where he's had those issues. When he gets into his quick set and he's jumping out at edge players, he's losing with his inside hand, so his left hand. So as players try and cross his face, he has to lay that post hand up. He's getting caved in a little bit. And that's also going to be part of what the second issue is. And that's just kind of his anchor more broadly, where guys that can convert speed to power. So that's your Zadarius Smiths, obviously your Myles Garrett's, your TJ Watts, those types of guys are able to run through his anchor. And so that's really what we're going to be focusing on. These early reps are going to be those inside moves. So you're going to see him get out in what week would this be? The Thursday night game. Whatever, the Thursday night game against the Bengals where they were wearing the new helmets. So we're going to get out, and you see right there, he's going to get that inside, ran through a little bit, knocked back, not too bad on that play. Keep rolling here into the next play, and there's kind of that inside hand, right? So as he gets attacked, converts speed to power. You can see right there, hands up underneath his inside, his left arm underneath the shoulder plate as he's going to run right through, cross that face, and you see that pocket caving in. Lamar is going to, be able to escape because that's what Lamar is able to do. But that pressure getting caved in on the right side again here. Again, not too bad, but, getting walked back pretty consistently on that inside move. Here against the Broncos, this is going to be, him getting walked through for that sack. So this is just, again, kind of those anchor issues, those inside hands. So he's going to be looking to zero in his initial step. Zero is going to hop out. 98 is going to have to, and that's an interior defensive lineman, kind of a 5 tech, one of those bigger bodies, one of those guys that will give a guy like Rosengarten some trouble. And you see him just work through there. He's not able to, hit his hands, gain the leverage back. Here again, Zadarius Smith gets out in space. Once the snap comes, gets out in space. And there's Zadarius Smith. See that inside hand. So once again, Zadarius Smith's going to, and you see we're dropping our head here, our hats over our skis, and Zadarius Smith's right hand is going to come again up in that armpit, lose that leverage, and then you can see the hand extension from Za'Darius. Try and get a freeze frame of it right there. So as soon as he's able to hit that, he can rip with that left hand, come back underneath, which he does right there, creates a line, and then that actually pushed Lamar back out of the pocket. So Ronnie Stanley's guy gets the sack, but it's mostly caused because Roger Rosengarten's forcing Lamar by losing inside to have to step back into the arc of the pocket. So that's really where Ronnie's pushing him around the pocket. The inside pressure is forcing him back. And that's really been the fundamental problem with the Ravens offensive line. Even though the tackle is losing in this case, he's losing inside. And that's been the big thing, is that interior pressure that we've seen recently. So just one of the things he was struggling with here against Diaby. We're going to get out in space. And once again, we're just missing our hands, right? So we're not hitting our hands consistently. That's kind of the fundamental problem. Here we get out again, and then once again walk through. And so we get out and our heads over our skis again. So, we're out narrow base here, just not finding a set point consistently, end up like that, and then another sack. So just consistently similar problems going on here. Back in that Bengals game, coming out and losing that inside move again. So just anchor issues, strength, but a lot of this stemming from the fundamental issues of not hitting your punch. And that's where you get into some of these secondary issues. Here we're going to lose that inside hand again. Then we lose at the outside hand because we're trying to overcompensate. So he really needs to focus on that stop sign. And that's one of the things I think we've seen him do better in the last 3 weeks. Again, against Za'Darius Smith, that inside hand just consistently, right? Because we're not getting out in our set point. We're not finding our set point consistently. And that's resulting in overcompensating. Here we're going to go out, and this is going to be one of his greatest strengths, right? That transition where he's going to go vertical step and then out into a quick step. And see, we just don't hit that inside stop sign. So as much as I love the aggressiveness, when you're going to pull this type of aggressiveness, you have to hit your hands. And you can see right here, our feet are too close. And as soon as Diaby reads that, he cuts back inside and clear shot at Lamar Jackson. So love the aggressiveness within that quick set. But if he's not going to be able to stop that inside move, he's going to have problems. Moving out here. And again, just not hitting his hands consistently, the same problem. So it's definitely one of those things where I think the coaches have focused on that in the last few weeks. There's that quick set again, and we're just not maintaining contact. That rep doesn't bother me as much because that is an aggressive move, and it's designed to try and, force the defender to have to move around you once you jump out at them. So naturally within your jump set, you're going to have some time baked into that, getting closer to those kind of 3.5 second clean pockets that you want to give, but it does take you out of the play, like you can see there. So there's some pros and cons when you don't hit your hands. Once again, jumping out, but losing around, but Lamar stepping up in the pocket. No big deal there. Back out again. And again, losing that. So same idea, right? So we're hitting that aggressive quick set, but then we're not winning on the secondary pass rush move. So those are really the issues where we were getting those pressures stacking up through weeks 5 to 10. And then we come out against the Steelers, which was like the marquee game, right? TJ Watt, 100% of his snaps come against the right tackle. And so I pulled some snaps here that we're going to take a look at. So obviously I'm not going to pull chips, but I'm being very clear with you guys. So you can see Isaiah Likely right here, right? So this is what I mean by they don't chip with the tight end in line. They split the tight end out, 3 yards, and you can see the response here from TJ Watt aligning closer to the tight end. So that's because of run coverage, right? So if he aligned in too close, it'd be setting up some of those gap integrity issues. So that's something where you'll see when he does get chipped. See, so as that chip comes, you see Rodgers probably okay in this set. So, but Likely pushes him in, and as he pushes him in, and that's not Likely's fault, but as he pushes him in, Roger has to adjust to TJ Watt's new path, and that's just tough when you're kicking out so far. So it's one of those things, they're giving him help, I get it, but it can be very disruptive within this pass set. So as he jumps out of his stance, rather than TJ Watt, video corrupted, just a sec. I gotta remove it and put it back in. But as I'm saying, so rather than TJ Watt attacking the upfield from that wide alignment, Roger has to adjust to him getting pushed into his inside hands, which can be as disruptive. So, but as you're going to see here, really good rep here from Roger. He's able to stunt, push him out the back. So even with the chip, he still has to play through that. Here we're getting an empty rep, one-on-one against TJ Watt, and really like the way he gets out there in space. So this is one of the things I want to see from tackles in these situations. Get out of your stance. We have Patrick Queen lining up right over top of him. He's going to kick out regardless. They're going to slide to the right. You see Tyler Linderbaum step right. Daniel Falele stepping right for Patrick Queen. And watch how quick Rogers just comes out of his stance, fires out, and then gets out there and is going to use his athleticism to try and cave in. So we all know how TJ Watt rushes. He wants to dip right here. He wants to dip and use that that inside hand. So as he dips, he wants to rip up, right? So rip up, and Roger athleticism here is able to run with him and just use his athleticism to wall off against Lamar Jackson, try and push him out the back of the pocket. Love seeing that. It's a good counter to what TJ Watt does so well. Here you're going to get him against Jeremiah Moon. Really solid rep here. Obviously, that's not TJ Watt. Jeremiah Moon was here. The pressure comes from the other side in this play, but just a really good clean rep. So here we have Mark Andrews split out again. You can see right there, Mark Andrews is going to kind of cut him off. So it's a little bit of help here, but Roger Rosengarten still has to get out there in space. And love this right here. This is just a good recognition. So as Mark cuts him off, you can see right here, now TJ Watt's up high. So he's going to shoot his hands, and as he does, Roger Rosengarten advanced technique. This is what I've been talking about over and over again with some of those quick sets that he uses. This is advanced technique to go into the snatch. Notice that he's up high and then swat down on the hands and put him into the ground. Really good stuff here from Rosengarten. Maintains through that rep. Good movement, good athleticism, but love seeing him ID that. Here we have an empty rep here on the right-hand side. And there. See, once again, there's that dip and rip. So you're going to get TJ Watt's going to try and rush upfield, and he's going to dip. Once again, inside hand. He's trying to dip, rip up with that right hand, and then bend. He wants to dip, rip, bend the edge. And so what you're going to get from Roger Rosengarten, great athleticism, fires out of his stance. He doesn't get caught, in his quick set, or in his vertical set. So as he comes out, he's not vertically working backwards in a set to shoot his hands. He goes right at him. This is the aggressiveness that I think is going to be the difference in what makes Roger Rosengarten, Rosie. Let's call him Rosie. What makes Rosie a decent player and a good player. So as he gets out there, he jumps right out at him. There's that aggressiveness. Use your athleticism to your advantage. The way that guys can use their speed to power conversion, use your athleticism against them. Get out there, get your hands on them, and hit your hands when you get out there. There you see Mark Andrews giving a little bit of a shot and then going into a drag route. And so TJ Watt's going to cut across his face. Really good diagnosis here by the right side. So he's going to pass him off to Falele, come off, and pick up. And you see right there, look how he bends the pocket. Really good rep here from Roger Rosengarten. So as the looper comes around right here, you see how he maintains that pocket. We're now back in a normal tackle stance here, maintaining that kind of outer brim. And you can see again, Patrick McCary losing inside. That's where that pressure is going to come on Lamar. Right side takes care of business. Back out against TJ Watt here. Once again, pushing him around that pocket. So again, TJ Watt's trying to use the exact same move. Rosengarten's going to get out and then boom. See him shoot down on those hands and push him out the back of the pocket. Just clean athleticism. Those are some very, very good reps against TJ Watt of all people, a guy that I was expecting to be a nightmare matchup for him. But just he came out in this game. He came prepared. He understood. And I mean, we covered it on the channel because I've been watching TJ Watt for years. It's really clear the way he wants to win, but you could tell Roger was dialed into the matchup, ready to go. Now, again, in this Chargers game, he saw a lot of Bosa, but again, Ravens giving help, no doubt about it. Not taking that away from the reps that Rosengarten had to win one-on-one, but would not be giving you guys the full story if we didn't talk about it, right? So there were definitely reps where he was getting chips, easier sets for him, keeping pass receivers in for the Ravens, which can hurt the offense. But what we want to transition to is being able to 5-man protect or 5-man protect with our running back in for a 6-man protection or a 6-man delayed release and get your tight ends out rather than giving chips. So that's where we want to get to. But still, in those reps where Rosengarten was one-on-one with these guys, Khalil Mack, Bosa, those types of guys, really solid reps. So here we're going to get one against Bosa. And again, we're out quick. You see a little chip there from Justice Hill. Seemed pretty unnecessary. The way Rosengarten plays this, very similar to JJ against JJ Watt or TJ Watt, sorry. He's just going to get out of his stance quick, fire out of his stance. Look at those hands hit. And then, being able to move with him, use his athleticism, mirror his movements. Here we're going to have one against their backup edge and really good absorb of the power rush here. So as he gets out there, and the difference was those hands are in a lot tighter. We're not missing wide. Our hands are hitting in. We're a little high in our stance here. Our butt's a little high, but he absorbs this pretty well, recovers well. And it's that cave in on the left side rather than the right side that's causing any pressure on that throw. Once again, against the backup, pushing him out the back of the pocket. Good clean rep there. Here we have another one against Bosa, and there again, same as against TJ Watt. So again, it's only a couple reps where he's going one-on-one with Bosa, but watch right out there, and then he's out quick, hits those hands. That's a very, very clean rep for Roger Rosengarten against Bosa. Very solid pass rusher, obviously, in this league. So against the Chargers, he had 0 pressures allowed. He had 1 hurry allowed against the Steelers, and then against the Eagles, he had 1 sack allowed. That's actually the play we're going to start with here before we go through the rest of his game. I would say the Eagles pass rush strength was that interior rush, right? Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, those guys. Josh Sweat had a really good game against Ronnie Stanley. Ronnie struggled in this one. This was the only one I found Rosengarten lose. It's the sack allowed to Nolan Smith on his side, and you're going to see this is, again, something he's just going to have to get consistent with. There's that quick set. So we're going to step vertically. We're going to get out there aggressively and see at this point, we didn't hit our hands clean enough. So back to some of those struggles we had in those 6 games in the middle of the season. Here, you're opening that floodgate. Nolan Smith's going to come around the corner and get that sack. But that's the only pass rush loss I found for Roger Rosengarten in this game. They didn't give him nearly as much help in this game, likely because of they're not going against those same types of edge duos as a TJ Watt, as a, Bosa, those sort of things. It was really the interior that was giving us problems. Nice clean handoff there, ending up against Jalen Carter. See him pass off Nolan Smith, pick up Carter, no problem. We're diagnosing a lot better in these last few games. Really good to see. Here we're going to have another clean rep on this right side against Nolan Smith. And there's that. You can see it right there. There's that quick step, that athleticism. Look how fast he's out of his stance. Boom. And we're out there, and we're just shutting down that pass rush. Really like to see that, just that quick fire out of his stance. Here he's going to end up with Jalen Carter as a 5 tech, and then you got Josh Sweat outside of Mark Andrews here. And he's going to end up, a little bit of help from Falele, but mostly one-on-one, and just really liked on this rep, getting, where he's shooting his hands, trying to find those leverage points against Jalen Carter, just fighting, battling against, a much bigger dude than him. Here again, we're getting aggressive. I just love seeing these jump sets. Love seeing him take it to the edge rushers right there, shooting out at him, and those hands are hitting. Those hands just need to hit consistently for Rosengarten to be his most effective. Again, another rep against Jalen Carter, and then he's just in there balling. He's in there battling against a much more physical, a much bigger player. And you can see right there, just trying to find those leverage points anywhere he can within his hand placement as he refits throughout the rep. Back out in space here against the backup. Really solid rep. Loses a little bit there at the end. Loses his concentration on the rep, that is. Didn't lose the rep itself. We're back out here against Nolan Smith. And again, just battling through that. But, initially, really solid rep. We're going to get out there and we're going to take it back to him, right back out there, meet him head on, right there. As, Nolan Smith tries to pull his hands away and regain some leverage to get a secondary rush. See Rosengarten sticking to him a lot better than what we saw earlier in the year. So really solid rep there. Out against Josh Sweat. Look at that. That's up there. This is one of his best pass sets this season against Josh Sweat. Gets out there, hands land as he comes. He's just going to keep battling, keep refitting those hands. He has to refit his hands twice after his initial. So there's the initial strike, refit, and then refit again. So just really solid stuff here. Obviously, the sack comes from the left side. We already took a look at that in a video last week. But really solid reps here. Back out against Nolan Smith, caving him out. See, and this is what I like, the way he can run a guy around the edge, create some, and if guys want to rush up field, go ahead, rush up field, gives Lamar Jackson a scramble lane. Lamar takes it here, goes for a first down. So really like it. Again, that athleticism to get out there, run guys around the horn. It's good to see. And here we can see him find that set point really cleanly and land his hands. So he gets out there, helmet to helmet. We're square. We hit those hands, and then we're just cleaning through that. Again, refitting those hands 2 or 3 times throughout this rep. So he's going to strike, refit. Really good stuff. Nelly should have caught that ball. So overall, excellent last 3 games from Roger Rosengarten. I think he's really finding a stride. I think you can really see the difference between the 5 weeks where he was struggling and the 3 weeks where he's not struggling. It's really once he gets out into those square ups. So once he gets out and gets aggressive, squares up with the edge rusher, the way he hits his hands, it's all going to be the key for him. And so we're just seeing it more consistently, him landing those hands, him battling throughout, hitting those refits throughout the rep. So really good stuff here from Roger Rosengarten. If you guys liked what you saw, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here, and drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about Roger Rosengarten. And thank you to BetUS for sponsoring this video.